Welcome to the Kingdom Culture Podcast that was created on purpose with a purpose to empower, uplift, and guide others to the center of God's perfect will. Kingdom Culture family, welcome back to the Kingdom Culture Podcast. I hope everybody's been having a great week. Let me ask you something. Are you living your life truly, or are you just surviving it? This week I want to talk about chaos and how moving from chaos into discipline is what's going to change your life. For the longest time, I felt like my life was in a constant storm. My emotions, my routines, my health, my business, everything felt like it was slipping through my fingers. I was waking up already exhausted, reacting to everything, and never feeling in control. And the thing is that when you live in chaos for so long, you don't even realize how much it's affecting you and draining you because you're used to it. It's like your body kind of adapts to that type of pressure, that type of stress, and you just keep going with the motions. But I knew deep down that there was more for me. There was more joy, more calmness, more peace that I needed to seek out, right? And that was my turning point. I got tired of being tired. I got tired of my body kind of like giving me all the signals that I needed to just stop what I was doing. It was kind of like that I was living the wrong way. And you kind of just ignore that feeling of like, no, it's fine. It's just me. I'm just, being extra. But that is just you wanting better and knowing that you can have better, knowing that you are capable of better. And that's when I understood something really big. I wanted a different life, which meant that I had to become a different version of myself. And that was scary at first, right? Because when you start to realize that, like, hey, maybe you need to do big changes here so that you can live and survive and be happy and be aligned with what you're supposed to do, right? And it all started with discipline. And for me, I started small. So you always hear about morning routines. You always hear about you should have a schedule. You should plan your day the day before. You should always be able to know, what your month's going to look like. And at first, all of that overwhelmed me. It was very, vague, I think, for me at the time. And so when they were like, oh, just have a morning routine. But I added like 10, 15 different things to my morning routine, and my morning routine did not stick. Move your body. Okay, cool. Let me go to the gym. I used to go for 2 hours, felt exhausted, and then didn't do anything else the rest of the day. And so that's what I want to break down today, is how to actually do it and what I did, right? So I started super small. So when people tell you wake up at 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. before the rest of the world, that's because it's real. Like, if you are able to do that, if you're a morning person, do it, because it's going to help you just not react to your day, right? So I started waking up 30 minutes earlier and increased that time. So instead of waking up, I think it was I used to wake up at like 7 to get ready for work. I just said, okay, 30 minutes earlier. So let's wake up at 6:30. Would wake up at 6:30 and just start getting ready for my day. I didn't even do anything else. I just got up earlier and got ready for my day and headed out the door. And then I added other 30 minutes. Okay, now we're going to wake up at 6. And then after that, I started to journal. So I said, okay, cool. So I can't be at work 2 hours early. What can I do in between that's not going to, feel like a lot? And that's when I started praying and journaling and reading my Bible. So I'm like, I can read my Bible for 30 minutes, read a verse, read a book and a verse and journal with it. And so I did that. And then once I started praying, the 30 minutes actually ended up being an hour. And then I just increased the time again from 6 to 5:30 to 5 to 4. And so I would wake up at 4 in the morning, I started waking up at 4 in the morning, and I would journal and pray and then move my body. So work out for an hour and a half. Then after I work out, actually get ready for work and head to my 9 to 5. which is super cool, right? Because all of these little things that I just implemented slowly helped me not to spiral anymore. I was, praying, which made me get closer to God. I was saying no to distractions that kept me stuck. So every time I would journal through something, random things came up that were like triggers or limiting beliefs. And so spending a lot of alone time helped me realize that, like, hey, these are the little things that you can do right now to get out of this chaotic state of just flight, right? And I had to stop waiting to feel motivated and start showing up regardless. Fast forward to today, right? My life isn't perfect, but it's no longer in chaos. My shift really is, I don't rely on my motivation anymore. I rely on my systems. I don't overthink. I just act. I don't spiral when something goes wrong. I pause, and this is a big one. I pray and I reset. And I want to backtrack a little bit. So when I say I don't rely on motivation and I rely on systems, is that I actually have systems in place that help me do everything. So like I just said, right, I wake up at 4 and do specific things that I know that are going to help me. That's a system. A lot of people don't explain what a system is, and everybody wants to overcomplicate it, but a system is just a specific list or sequence of tasks that you have for yourself that make you do the things that you're supposed to. Another example for the gym, right? My system for the gym is 4 days a week. All 4 days are heavy, lift training, and I'm training to exhaustion, and I'm showing up, I'm making sure that I have enough protein and doing other things. That's a system. I have my workouts already planned out for the week, the month. I have my meals planned out so that I'm not second guessing or having to not meal prep because I don't know what I'm doing. That's a system. Another system that I use for my coaching business is Mondays and Tuesdays. I'm on social media, posting, reaching out, sending DMs, trying to get people, getting to know people if I can help them or not. Wednesday and Thursdays are planning days. So those 2 days I'm sitting down, researching, doing the things that I need to so I can post on the podcast and on about my coaching business and how to help other people. Friday and Saturday, I kind of just, read and do my self-development. So I study in those days too, but it's more for me, for my mindset, for my growth, for my sales, my marketing. Those 2 days are just for that. And then Sundays I take off. I'm with my son all day and I just don't work. But those are systems. That's example of a system. I have a system for posting. I have a system for the time that I'm going to spend with my son, what I'm going to do with him. Like, I thrive in routines and systems because of the fact that I was in survival mode and chaos for so long that once you find these systems, motivation's just out the window. You just know what to do and you just sit down and do it. You're not second guessing. You're not overthinking. You know what you need to do. So again, you don't overthink. You just act because the systems work for a reason. And then the non-spiraling. So before, I used to spiral if something didn't go right with my systems. So like, let's say I have a system with AB on Sundays where we're going to have breakfast, go to church, do the thing. And then maybe he doesn't feel like being, at church that day. And he's like wild and running and doing other things and he can't sit still. I would freak out and I'm like, oh my God, I need to sit still. We need to go through this thing. And now I don't. I pause and I pray and I'm like, all right, cool. Let's pivot and change and adapt. That's another thing with this is that you have to keep your willingness to adapt if something doesn't go to plan. So that really helped me. The discipline that I started, in the mornings, that led into my gym routines and started bleeding into every other area of my life is what made me change as a person. My mindset, my business, my faith, even my confidence started to grow. So that's amazing. So what can you do to try to build some discipline and start doing that today? Easy enough. Pick one thing that you want to keep doing this week. It could be going to the gym 3 times, drinking a gallon of water, journaling daily. Start small, but stay consistent. That's another thing. Like, I feel like a lot of us feel like, okay, cool. Like, if you're going to launch a business, right, you have to think about, okay, what's my business going to be? Who's my audience? How am I going to post on social media? How am I going to market myself? Am I going to do my own name? Am I going to do a brand? What are my colors? Like all of these things, right? But in reality, just pick one thing. Do it consistently for 21 days or 30 days. I know that the actual time to build a habit is 100 days, but if you do something consistently for at least a month, it'll become easier to do and show up to do. So start small, stay consistent. Create a morning reset. So give yourself a 10-minute routine every morning. Pray, stretch, write down your top three priorities, and get them done. Because to-do lists work, but they can also be a distraction. Like, I don't do to-do lists because, again, I just do the easiest thing first, just to scratch it off, to feel like I did something productive. Now I actually just have my systems in place, and I don't change them until I feel like there's a pivot needed to be done. So it's always pray, journal, gym, DMs, comments, enrollment calls. And that's what my day is. Like, I don't have fluff in between. I don't try to add little things here and there to make me feel productive anymore. So again, simple 10 minutes, top 3 priorities, and you'll start to see how much fluff that you'll have in your life. Because before, I'm like, all right, cool, I gotta read a book, I gotta make sure that I journal, I gotta make sure that I hit the gym for 2 hours, I gotta make sure that I spend time with my son, and in reality, when I started waking up earlier and getting my top 5 things done quicker, faster, I had all my afternoon to just hang out with my son. And I think that's what I was missing, the and. It wasn't or. Like, it wasn't, I'm going to work on my business or hang out with my son. It never should be that way. It's, okay, cool, I'm going to do my priority stuff, and then I get to spend time doing what I love with the people that I love. It's always and. Don't forget that. Your life is not just supposed to be boxed into this, right? So track your wins. Every Sunday, look back at your week and celebrate what you did right, no matter how small, because discipline grows when you recognize your progress. So tracking data, everything, like, it might seem overwhelming at first, but you can start small. I love tracking stuff now. So, like, I have a spreadsheet, and I have a spreadsheet for everything, for every, mindset, finance, business, all of those things. Because when you see your progress and you start to, like, recognize, like, wow, cool, like, last month I probably would have reacted differently to this situation, and now I'm not. It really brings you into this, like, laser focus thing, and it wants you to do it. Like, your brain wants to do it even more, because your brain actually craves for things to be automatic, if that makes sense. So the less that your brain has to think about doing something, the more that it's going to want to do it. So, track your wins, get those endorphins in, and allow yourself to be happy for your progress, no matter how small it is. Like, I remember I even put down one time that I didn't react to one of my son's tantrums. And before, I would be like, but now when he has a tantrum, I'm like, okay, cool, dude, like, feel your feelings, we'll talk it out. And then I just, either if I feel like I'm being overstimulated, I will stop and walk away from him. So track your wins, people. And then, like always, we got to bring faith into this. We got to bring God right in the middle. There's one Bible verse that really carried me through this season of change, and it's in 1 Corinthians 14:33. It says, "For God is not a God of disorder, but of peace." Let me read that again. For God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. That really hit me hard, because I didn't realize how much more simple life is. It's actually just being in your present moment, right? But it's also because living in chaos, meant that I wasn't letting the Lord guide me. It was just me trying to take care of things that, I didn't even have to take care of. It was me not trusting God. It was me allowing myself to stay in this mindset of chaos, of like, oh no, this is how my life is. I'm always going to struggle. I'm always going to be, in my head. I'm always going to have to react to everything, be loud, yelling, on the rush. And what is cool is that once you realize that God creates room for peace to show up in our lives, everything else changes. I had lunch with a friend of mine from high school a few months back now. And it was so cool because she knew me before I even worked on myself. We were really close in high school. And I was very reactive. So I was yelling all the time. I wanted to be a bad girl. I wanted to be tough and difficult and hard and like, you can't mess with me type of thing, And the best thing that she could say to me was like, hey, I can see the change in you. I can feel the change. You're more calm, more collected, more at peace. You're not as reactive. And that was awesome. And I felt very proud. And I have that as a win because for somebody from your past to come back and see you and notice a change is amazing. So, again, remember that God is not a God of disorder, but of peace. But if you feel like your life is messy right now, I need you to know this. You don't need to fix everything at once. You don't need to have it all figured out. All you need to do is make one decision today and keep one promise to yourself. That's where it starts. One choice at a time, one step at a time. Discipline isn't punishment, it's freedom, right? So that's it for today. That's today's episodes. If it spoke to you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you haven't yet, leave a review so we can reach more people who are trying to build a better version of themselves. Remember, chaos doesn't have to be your normal. With God, with faith, with discipline, you can create a life that you are very proud of. I'll see you in the next one. God bless.